Devil Comet visible in night sky now won't swing by Earth again for decades. An unusual horned comet notable for a series of recent outbursts will be visible in the night sky for the remainder of March, and astronomers expect the so-called Devil Comet to make a rare appearance during the total solar eclipse on April 8th. Exactly why the dynamic comet takes on a shape that has drawn comparisons to the Millennium Falcon spacecraft from the Star Wars films when explosively active is still an enigma to scientists. But the celestial object only completes one orbit around the Sun about every 71 years, similar to Halley's Comet, which make the odds of observing it for close study a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Given that the comet won't pass by Earth again for decades, collective observations by astronomers could provide key insights into the true nature and behavior of Pons-Brooks. Officially known as Comet 1 to P Pons-Brooks, the celestial object will make its closest pass of the Sun on April 21st, coming within 74.4 million miles, 119.7 million kilometers of our star. The comet will then make its closest pass of Earth on June 2nd. But it will be 139.4 million miles to 124.4 million kilometers away from our planet and won't pose a risk. For those in the northern hemisphere, the last 10 days of March will offer the best view. According to Dr. Paul Chodas, manager of the Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, and Davide Farnokia, navigation engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, the comet will brighten a bit as it gets closer to the Sun, and it should be visible to the naked eye low in the west about an hour after sunset. According to a joint email from Chodas and Farnokia, you should go to a location away from city lights and with an unobstructed view of the western horizon. It would be advisable to use a pair of binoculars, since the comet may be hard to locate without them. After April 2nd, the comet is on track to move into the daytime sky and won't be visible to sky gazers at night, but it will be visible when the moon's shadow temporarily blocks the sun's face from view on April 8. The comet would be located about 25 degrees away from the eclipsed sun, Chodas and Farnokia said via email. The comet should be fairly easy to find during the total solar eclipse, as well as a number of planets. But the main focus during those 4 minutes should be on the eclipse itself, after the comet's closest approach to the Sun, known as perihelion. In late April, the celestial body will shift to the southern night sky and only be visible to those in the southern hemisphere. Two prolific discoverers, Jean-Louis Pons and William Robert Brooks, independently observed the Devil Comet for the first time in 1812. But the comet has likely made many trips around the Sun over thousands of years, long before astronomers thought of comets as anything other than something weird in the atmosphere, said Dr. Dave Schleicher. Astronomers estimate the massive comet to be between 6.2 to 12.4 miles, 10 to 20 kilometers in diameter, said astronomer Dr. Teddy Coretta, a postdoctoral associate at Lowell Observatory. The rare visitor has a green appearance typical of most comets, because they contain diatomic carbon molecules that absorb sunlight and emit a color that appears green from our perspective, Schleicher said. A series of cosmic outbursts. Pons-Brooks recently captured the attention of astronomers after exhibiting intriguing behavior that caused the comet to have a horned appearance and soar through our solar system. The comet has experienced a number of outbursts during the past 8 months, causing it to eject gas and dust. While such releases are not uncommon in comets and a crescent or Pac-Man shape has been observed in other ones, it's difficult to tell what is normal for Pons-Brooks. I would say it's somewhat unusual in the number of outbursts it's been having, Schleicher said. On the other hand, it's not like you have good records from the past to really let you know what is typical. And I suspect, given the fairly large number of outbursts that have happened over the last 8 months, that this is very clearly a usual occurrence for Pons-Brooks. Comets are chunks of dust, rock, and ice, essentially frozen remnants from the formation of the solar system. They also contain frozen elements such as carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, Comets heat up and brighten as they approach the sun, and some of the frozen gases stored in comets don't need to warm up much before they begin to turn into vapor, Schleicher said. "We think the ultimate driver, of course, is heating from the sun," he said. "The comet is coming in, it's been sitting out in a deep freeze for years. The heat is going to be working its way from the surface down to wherever that carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide ice is located." Astronomers suspect Pons-Brooks outbursts have occurred over the course of repeated events as heat vaporizes material inside the comet, which causes pressure to build up and break through the surface. While an explosion of gas wouldn't be visible in telescopes, the dust it kicks up would create the kind of events observed from Pons-Brooks, Schleicher said. Scientists have traced the jets of material observed releasing from the comet during its outburst to two source regions on its surface. Astronomers are puzzled as to why the whole surface isn't going off like mad, Schleicher said. The observations imply that ice has crusted over the majority of the surface, or the ice has been vaporized away, leaving only dirt behind. But astronomers are not quite sure which of those mechanisms runs the show, he said. What we can learn from comets, an overlapping series of events, likely has contributed to Pons-Brooks' distinctive look. But it could also be due to our perspective of the comet, Coretta said.